各位朋友们，大家好，欢迎来到贝特曼绿卡直通车，我是 Vodona。那今天我们请来了贝特曼的大律师尤金律师来到我们的直播现场，我们一会儿呢会就金卡的问题为对他呢进行一些相应的提问。首先呢，还是由我先来介绍一下我们的律师。尤金律师 Yevgeny Samokhleb is a partner at our law firm with a focused practice in immigration law. Particularly in the EB5 investment and immigration field. Mr. Samokhleb earned his JD from New York Law School and is admitted to practice in New York, New Jersey. Since entering practice in 2011, he has built extensive experience representing immigrant investors, EB5 project developers, and the regional centers navigating the complex requirements of the project. About BTM Law Group, we are a prestigious established law firm with over 20 years of experience, founded in 2001 as Liu Bitterman. Headquartered in New York, we have successfully guided thousands of clients through the complex US immigration system. Hi, Eugene. Now
Hi.
that the administration has officially launched the
Yes,
trumpcard.gov website and the portal is live. I'd love to dive into the specific for our audience. Okay.
let's do it.
All right. So, what is a gold card?
Okay. So a gold card is basically President Trump's idea for people obtaining green card status in the United States by making a large contribution of at least $1 million to the US government, to the Treasury. Essentially, that's what it is in a simple way.
I see. So, what type of visa is the gold card?
Okay. So the gold card has been fitted into within the existing EB1 and, or I should say EB1A and EB2 NIW categories. EB1A is a category for what's called extraordinary ability. It has various components to it, and the administration has indicated that they're going to treat the donation of at least $1 million as an indicator of exceptional ability in business. And for the NIW part under EB2, they indicated that they're going to treat the same donation of $1 million or more as exceptional skill in business. There are various regulations that have not yet been. That's that's what they have been.
How much does a would
There's the individual personal gold card, and then there's the corporate card. I'm going to um, which is a gold card that does not at least $1 million donation. And when I say at least one
Do I still need to prove the source of income?
Absolutely. Um, that is one area that's similar to EB-5. EB-5 requires demonstrating the source of funds in a very extensive, voluminous manner, and so does this program. The only difference between the two is that the Gold Card requires basically some extra disclosures, financial disclosures that EB-5 does not. And the Gold Card program has some special rules if the source of funds involves cryptocurrency. But other than that, it's generally the same burden of proof as with EB-5.
I see. So what is the process and procedure for the gold card?
Okay. So this is somewhat still speculative. It hasn't been fully implemented yet. The infrastructure for it is there, but there's still some steps that the government is yet to release. But generally speaking, the first step is to register on the trumpcard.gov website. This is a website intended to basically collect some very basic, simple information just for statistical purposes, funds documentation. If that they are doing it so far, they can certainly make some arguments, but ultimately, it's a fairly high bar for a president to kind of do this by himself. And so there is substantial risk that the program might ultimately fail. Now, if somebody applies for it in the meantime, and let's say they get approved, okay? If somewhere down the road, whether it's very quickly or sometime later on, if the program runs into legal problems and it fails, like other presidents' programs in a similar way, the big risk here is that we don't know how that would impact the money situation. There is no there's no public process or formal process by which somebody can then say, well, I'm not getting my green card anymore because this program was revoked. Now give me my money back, right? So that's ultimately, if that happens, it would have to be litigated, it would take a long time, and a judge would have to figure out how to work that around. So those are the risks associated as of today.
I see. So comparison between the EB5 and the gold card. So what is the advantage and the disadvantage?
So the big advantage of EB5, as we just discussed, is twofold. Number one, with EB5, you have a lot of certainty. You have a lot of legal certainty. You don't have to worry about the law changing, overnight or the program being revoked and things like that. It's sort of, set in stone. Okay. It was created by Congress more than 35 years ago. The regulations are there, the law is there. There's no need to worry about the legal part. Um, that's one advantage. The second advantage is that, like we discussed earlier, what EB5 is an investment, whereas the gold card, the disadvantage there is it's a purchase. So the difference is that with an investment, assuming what you invested in is successful, you can get your money back. Okay, sometimes even with some interest. Um, with the gold card, it's basically an expense in return, and the transaction completes then. There's no return of your capital in the future. So those are the major differences.
Thank you.
Okay.
So who should apply for the gold card? And who should apply for the EB5 in your mind?
Well, that's a good question. So I would say that a gold card, at least as of today, a gold card is more suitable for people who are bigger risk takers, right? Because you're making a very expensive expenditure and you're taking a very big risk with the legal situation as I have just discussed. So I would say the gold card, definitely your personality needs to be such that you're willing to take big risks, big financial risks. Whereas EB5 is more so who are more conservative with their money. Okay. EB5 is of course at risk as well, but it's a very different kind and sort of a smaller risk. Okay. Um,
I
secondly, I would say that the gold card is more suitable, at least today, it's more suitable for people from what we like to call as ROW countries. Basically not China, not India, and not certain other countries, but basically, European countries, Taiwan, Hong Kong, those kinds of places. And the reason for that is because for EB5, the weight is if you're from China or from India, with EB5, at least today, those categories are current, and so you can get a green card right away. For everybody else, for China and India, for EB1 and EB2, which is what the gold card is, there's several years of waiting. So it's better to do the gold. If you're from China or from India, it's quicker to do EB5. If you're from other countries, then there might be some argument for why you should consider the gold card.
see. So what is the waiting time for the Chinese citizen if they want to apply for the gold card?
Right. So again, I have to reiterate. So the gold card is sort of a subcategory within EB1A and EB2 NW. Okay. So we have to look at the visa bulletin for China for EB1 and EB2. And for EB1, it is roughly approximately a 3-year wait. For EB2, it's roughly between 4 and 5 years right now.
Exactly. Okay. So
Whereas for
from your
EB5, as I mentioned earlier, for EB5, right now, there is no wait. I'm sure at some point in the not too distant future, there will become a wait, but right now, there is no wait.
Okay, I see. Right. So from your point of view, how to mitigate the EB5 risk if Chinese want to apply?
Number one, you need to consult with an experienced immigration attorney. Um, the gold card requires, as we discussed, it requires very voluminous and extensive source of funds documentation. And that is something that needs planning, and that is something that needs effective and efficient preparation. So don't attempt to just, it's not a simple bank statement that you can just go online and make a payment of $1 million and you got a green card. It doesn't work that way. So consult with an attorney. That would be my biggest suggestion of how to minimize the risk. And secondly, at least as of today, I would also say if you want to minimize your risk and you are planning to do some kind of financial investment, financial based immigration, I would say you would be minimizing your risks by doing EB5 because as we had discussed, EB5 is it's an established program with legal authority set in stone by Congress, whereas this program, as we discussed, has a bunch of uncertainties that are to be determined.
I see. So when it is a good time to apply for EB5?
Right now. Right. So, like I said earlier, if you are from China or if you're from India, it is inevitable that at some point in the not too very distant future, we can't predict exactly when it's going to happen, but maybe sometime in 26, probably, per perhaps early 27, at some point, the new EB5 categories are going to retrogress, which means they're going to develop a backlog because the demand for them has been quite high. So when that happens, you're going to basically be stuck waiting for a certain number of time, perhaps several years for a green card. Today, that doesn't exist yet. So if you start applying for EB5 today, you will get your green card substantially faster.
Thank you so much. So should I apply for the high unemployment area or the rural area? So how should we choose between these two?
Well, that's a personal decision in a lot of ways. That depends on which project you prefer to invest in. Different people have different preferences. This is in part a financial decision, what kinds of projects you like after you look at their business plans and assess their financial prospects. From a purely immigration standpoint, if you apply for a rural if you do an investment in a rural project, your immigration petition, that is your I-526E petition, will be approved substantially quicker than with a high unemployment area project, because the EB5 law requires USCIS to prioritize rural petitions. So the decision is both, it's a little bit both of a financial decision based on what kinds of investments you prefer, and it's a timeliness decision. Do you have compelling reason to be in a hurry, or do you not care about the time too much? So those are the differences.
I see. So, when 2027 comes around, so what change EB5 going to make?
That's a good question. So the current EB5 program, which was reformed and passed by Congress in 2022, is set to expire in September of 2027. Okay. Um, at that point, it's going to come up for renewal again. That's not the first time. It has been up for renewal, for many, many, many years over the last few decades. It's always inevitably gotten renewed, but there have been a few hiccups as to, some uncertainties and things like that. So, 2027 is going to be a big legal year for EB5 in that sense, a big political year for EB5 because Congress has to do it. The good news is that if you apply for EB5 before September of 2026, which is a year early, then the program is set to expire. Then you will be, as a matter of law, you will be considered to be grandfathered in, which means that if in 2027 the program for some reason, Congress fails to renew it and the program expires, you will be protected. So you will be able to basically complete your EB5 immigration journey, even though the program had expired. Um, so those are sort of the big things that are set to happen between 2026 and 2027.
Thank you so much, Eugene.
Yep.
There are some questions from the comment section, and let's
Sure.
look at those. Okay. So let me see. The first question is 5 million gold card applicable?
No. So the short answer is no. The 5 million card, which was actually intended it's called the platinum card now, not the gold card. Um, that's a sort of a different proposal that the administration has made for people to sort of get a green card or get lawful stay in the United States with certain tax benefits based on how much time they spend physically in the United States. But there are no substantial details about it yet. And that is something that's even more challenging for the administration to implement without Congress. And so as of now, it's not available. If you look at the website, it says this is just under proposal. It may be coming soon. Nobody knows, but it's not available right now.
I see. So still from the comment section, okay? So what do I need to prepare if I want to apply for EB-5?
The key for EB-5, as for the gold card, um, is is good source of funds that can be traced and documented in detail. As I mentioned, that's something that needs to be planned. That's something that needs to be consulted. So you got to talk to an experienced attorney or an immigration agent about that. Um, but that is the key, and that's something that you need to prepare.
Okay, thank you. Well, if there's more questions, you can always contact us, okay? So
Yes.
yes, there are more questions from the comment section. So here's the one. My kid just get married. So can he does EB-5 with me?
Unfortunately, the answer is no. That's a good question. That comes up sometimes. It's kind of a rare situation, but it does happen. So, with any immigration program, regardless EB-5 or any other category, usually it's your spouse and your children who are under 21 years of age who are eligible to join with you. But if your child, even though if they're under 21, if they get married, or even if they have been married but have since gotten divorced, even if they're still under 21, that by having been married at some point, they no longer meet the definition of a child by law. So once a child gets married, they're treated as an adult, even if they have been divorced, and they cannot follow with the parent.
I see. Okay, so how long is a gold card executive order valid for?
We don't know. Um, it's intended to be permanent. The administration, wants it to be permanent and always there. But like I said, it has no basis in law. There's no law as passed by Congress that enacted this program. So basically, the president can the president made this program. The president can revoke this program, or the president can alter this program at his choosing. And if he doesn't, the next president that comes in can do whatever he wants. That's why when you have presidents doing these things on their own, there's no stability. Um, and so there's no, the validity time is basically uncertain. It's until a court rules on it or until some future president or this president takes other action on it.
I see. So is gold card just easier to apply compared to EB-5?
Well, I would say it's more difficult because it requires more money, right? It requires more money. By virtue of being more money, that means more work and more paperwork and more source of funds documentation. And the process itself of applying is a little bit more, has extra steps than your regular EB-5 or any other category. So I would say between those two, EB-5 is somewhat easier.
Thank you so much, Eugene. Thank you everyone for joining us today. I think this is all the questions from the comment section of comment session. So if you are interested in applying for gold cards or EB-5 investment visa, please contact us at 888-715-8616 or visit our website. Or if you are in New York, if you're in presently in New York, please visit us at 299 Broadway, 1005. Thank you, Eugene. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Take care. Bye bye.
Bye.